The little bookstore glowed on the street corner. Rain streaked the windows. Inside, it was warm and dry. The air smelled like old paper and leather. It was a comforting smell. A feeling of peace settled over me as I stepped inside. The shelves stretched high, reaching for the ceiling. They were filled with books of all shapes and sizes. Some were brightly colored, others faded with age. Each one held a world waiting to be discovered. I took a deep breath, savoring the quiet hum of the bookstore. Soft yellow light poured from the lamps scattered throughout the store. It cast long shadows on the wooden floor. The light seemed to dance across the spines of the books. It beckoned me to come closer and explore their secrets. I ran my fingers lightly over the spines. Each book had a story to tell, a journey to take me on. The bookstore was my haven, a place to escape the noise and chaos of the world. In its quiet corners, I found solace and inspiration. Rain pattered softly against the window panes. It was a gentle rhythm, a lullaby for the soul. Inside, the bookstore was alive with quiet sounds. The old wooden floor creaked softly beneath my feet. It was a comforting sound, like the whisper of a familiar voice. From the corner came the tinkling melody of a piano. The music drifted through the air, light and airy. It painted pictures in my mind, evoking emotions I couldn't quite name. Each note seemed to harmonize with the quiet murmur of other readers browsing the shelves. The rustle of turning pages was a symphony in itself. It was a sound that spoke of curiosity, of minds being engaged. With each turn, a new world unfolded, a new adventure began. The bookstore was a place where silence was golden, but soft sounds told stories too. I closed my eyes, letting the sounds wash over me. The rain, the music, the rustling pages, they all blended together in a soothing symphony. It was a symphony that calmed my mind and filled me with a sense of peace. Each aisle was a journey through different worlds. Mysteries lurked in shadowy corners. Adventures awaited in far-off lands. Romance blossomed beneath starry skies. History unfolded on dusty pages. The possibilities were endless. I let my fingers trail along the spines, my eyes scanning the titles. Each book whispered promises of escape, of knowledge, of pure reading pleasure. I could spend hours lost in this labyrinth of stories, and often did. There was something magical about browsing a bookstore. It was a treasure hunt, a quest for the perfect book. Sometimes I knew exactly what I was looking for. Other times I let serendipity guide me. The weight of a book in my hand was comforting. Its texture, the feel of the paper, the scent of ink and time. These were all part of the experience. It wasn't just about reading the words, but about connecting with the physical object itself. A worn spine, a faded title, a glimpse of an intriguing illustration. These were the things that drew me in. I'd run my fingers over the cover, feeling the texture of the paper, tracing the outline of the letters. Sometimes it was love at first touch. Other times I'd hesitate, drawn in by the promise whispered in the title or the intrigue of the first few sentences. I might even catch a glimpse of a passage further in, words that resonated with my soul. The decision to choose a book was a deeply personal one. The weight of the book, its heft in my hands, was part of its allure. A slim volume of poetry promised a quick but intense encounter. A hefty novel suggested a journey that would span days or even weeks. Each held its own unique appeal. Once I'd made my choice, I'd find a quiet corner, a haven within the haven. The bookstore was my sanctuary, a place where I could lose myself in the pages of a good book. The outside world would fade away, replaced by the world created by the author's words. The gentle crackle of a book's spine as I opened it for the first time was a sound I cherished. It was the sound of a new beginning, a promise of untold adventures and fresh perspectives. The scent of paper and ink, a unique aroma that varied subtly from book to book, filled my senses, creating an aura of anticipation. Holding a book, feeling the texture of the paper beneath my fingertips, was a tactile experience that deepened my connection to the story. The weight of the book in my hands, the way the pages turned, even the faint sound of my own breathing as I became engrossed in the narrative. These were all part of the magic. As I delved deeper into the story, the outside world would melt away. The rain outside could have turned into a raging storm, but I wouldn't have noticed. I was lost in a world woven by words, my imagination alight with images conjured by the author's craft. The rustle of each page turning was like a whisper, urging me onward, deeper into the heart of the story. Time seemed to both stand still and fly by as I became immersed in the lives of the characters, their joys and sorrows, their triumphs and failures. Each page turned was a step into a new landscape. I could be transported to a bustling city street, the air thick with the scent of spices and exhaust fumes. Or I might find myself wandering through a tranquil forest, sunlight dappling the ground beneath the canopy of leaves. The author's words painted vivid pictures in my mind. I could almost feel the icy wind on my face as I scaled a treacherous mountain alongside a daring explorer. Or I might find myself swept away by the elegance and romance of a grand ball in a bygone era. Through the pages of books, I experienced life through 1,000 different lenses. I learned about cultures and customs vastly different from my own. I encountered characters who challenged my assumptions and broadened my understanding of the human condition. Books were more than just entertainment. They were portals to new worlds, mirrors reflecting the vast tapestry of human experience. They offered solace, companionship, and a sense of belonging, reminding me that I was not alone in my thoughts and feelings. As much as I loved getting lost in the pages of a good book, I also found immense satisfaction in jotting down my own thoughts and reflections. The bookstore, with its quiet corners and contemplative atmosphere, was the perfect place to let my mind wander and my pen flow freely. Sometimes I'd bring a notebook with me, its pages filled with scribbled notes and half-formed ideas. Other times, I'd purchase a fresh, crisp notebook from the store, its blank pages beckoning me to fill them with my musings. The act of writing was a way for me to process my thoughts and emotions, to make sense of the world around me. It was a way to connect with my inner self, to give voice to the thoughts and feelings that swirled within. The quiet hum of the bookstore, the gentle rustling of pages, the soft murmur of other readers. These sounds created a cocoon of concentration, a space where I could lose myself in the flow of words. In a world that often felt chaotic and overwhelming, the bookstore was my sanctuary. It was a place where I could unplug from the constant barrage of digital stimulation and reconnect with the simple pleasure of reading. Curled up in a cozy armchair, a steaming cup of tea within reach, I found solace and inspiration in the pages of a good book. The outside world faded away, replaced by the world created by the author's words. The bookstore was a place where I could be myself, without pretense or judgment. It was a place where I could indulge my love of literature, connect with fellow bookworms, and lose myself in the magic of storytelling. As I closed my book and prepared to leave the bookstore, I carried a piece of its magic with me. The stories I had read, the thoughts I had pondered, the emotions I had felt, they would stay with me long after I had turned the last page.